Welcome again to CCN Radio and Television Studio, Christ Channel Network, CCN. This is Emmanuel Tula Show. Today, I want to talk about my new book. The title is The Plan of God is Different from the Purpose of God. Plan of God is different from His purpose. There is a significant difference between the plan of God and the purpose of God. Now you will ask me, what is the plan of God? What is the purpose of God? Plans are our dreams, our ideas, choices, and decisions. They come from us, from others, from our own desires, from people around us, our goals, and from the influences around us. They can be to get married, buy a house, move cities, that is, move from city to cities and change anything. Generally, plans are the big decisions that determine what we do, where we go, and who we do them with. The scripture says in Jeremiah chapter 29 verses 11 to 13, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." That is, plan to prosper you and not to harm you. Plan to give you hope and a future. So the plan of God for your life, for my life, is specific and individualistic to you. And God will always give you the grace, favor, wisdom, knowledge, connection, and power to accomplish His plan for your life and to fulfill the desire of your heart. Now, what is the purpose of God? Purpose is a great direction. That is a set direction, a final destination that comes from God, not from your own desire or from other human beings or from the influences around us. God's purpose doesn't always make sense at the beginning, whenever you are going through the process until you arrive at the destination. You may fight God all the way, kicking and screaming. Your own people, your family, your spouse will critique you. Many people around you will abandon you because the process won't make sense to them. But God will be right all along in the end. If God's plan for your life confuses you, contrary to God's purposes, God will orchestrate events so His purpose will prevail by messing up the plan that you have for your life. Philippians chapter 2 verses 13 says, "For it is God who works in you to win and to act, to will and to act according to His good purpose." So whatever God plans for your life cannot be changed or altered. But you must understand that His plan for your life is just for you only. But God's purpose for your life is always for a group of people. That His plan is for you only, you as an individual. But God's purpose for your life is not for your own benefits only, but for the benefits of many people. That is, God's purpose is for your family, or for your city, or for your nation, or for the entire world, for the generation to come, for your children, for your grandchildren, for everybody in the family, unlike God's plan, which is for you as an individual. That is, God's plan begin and end up with you as an individual, but His purpose exists from generation to generation. Can you now see one important difference between the plan of God and the purpose of God? Matthew 8:28 says, "All things work together for good to those who love God and accord to His purpose." Now, do you see the reason why the plan for your life can be messed up in order for the purpose for your family or for your nation or for the entire world to be fulfilled. Plans can start and end up with your lifespan on earth, but purpose extends from generation to generations, from father to children and to the grandchildren, even to the 7th generation. So if what you started emanated from the purpose of God, you may not finish it, but God will accomplish it in your children's generations. But all your plan ends on the day of your burial. Even at the time you are being buried, your wife and your children will be laughing it off. But the purpose of God will outlast your wife, your children, the purpose of God for your life will outlast anybody in your family. If they do not continue it, God will pick up again after them. So the plan of God are our dreams, our ideas, choices, and decisions. But the purpose of God is a calling. Not that all things are good that happen to us as human beings, but in heaven's eyes, anything that strengthens your faith, strengthens your character and capacity, is God's good purpose to those who love Him. Ephesians 1:11 and Ephesians 3:11 says, in Him we have obtained an inheritance, having been predestined according to the purpose of Him who works all things according to the counsel of His will. Now do you see the reason why the plan for your life can be messed up in order for the purpose for your family or your nation or the entire world to be fulfilled? Plan can start and end up with your lifespan on earth, but purpose extends from generation to generation, from fathers to children and to the grandchildren. Plans are your dream, idea, choices, and decisions, but you are called to a purpose by God. That is why purpose can mess up your mind whenever you are trying to forsake your plan for God's purpose for your life. Are you getting it now? That you can find yourself at a junction of a decision in life where you have to make a choice, either to continue following the plan of God for you and your spouse and your children and switch to God's purpose, which is for the benefits of many outside your own little happy nuclear family life. A decision that may lead you to abandon the things that you love, or even the spouse you love, or your own children you love, or walk away or let go of your own individual benefits and personal blessing and convenience that you deserved and have worked for all your life. A time will come, if you receive the calling of God, a time will come when you just have to let go of something or somebody in order to accept the call to God's purpose for the benefits of many. Isaiah chapter 14 verses 24 and verse 27 says, "The Lord Almighty has sworn, surely as I have planned, so it will be, and as I have proposed, so it will stand. For the Lord Almighty has proposed, and who can thwart him? His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? Surely, as God has proposed, your enemies or friends or family cannot thwart God's purpose for your life. With their own good plan for your life, they cannot stop the purpose of God for your life. The good part of it is that at the end of the day, you will never regret accepting the call to purpose, but you may let go in the process of someone very dear to you in the process. Romans 8:30 says, "And to those whom he prefashioned, he called. And to those whom he called, he made righteous. And to those whom he made righteous, he glorified." He also called those whom he had already appointed. He approved of those whom he had called, and he gave glory to those whom he had approved of, not based on their own morality, but because he called them unto his purpose. Abraham and Moses were not great role models for modern moralists, but these two gentlemen were called into God's purpose for humanity. So the purpose of God for Abraham and Moses, God's purpose in calling Abraham was to recover man from the sinful situation. So choosing of Abraham is not for a personal matter. Abraham's being chosen by God was for the purpose of recovering man from his sinful situation. In Abraham's calling, we see God's purpose, plan, and predestination. So if we look at the purpose of God, in Abraham's life, we see that the plan of God and the predestination of God is the three things that were demonstrated in the life of Abraham and Moses. These three things are different to each other, which we understand at the end of this book. One wonders why so little is made of Moses' descendant, considering that even in the book of Chronicles, Moses is referred to as a man of God. A significant passage in this regard in the book of Chronicles and the Numbers. Let's look at Numbers chapter 3 verses 1 to 4, which begins. He said, "These are the generations of Aaron and Moses," but goes on to list only the children of Aaron. The Midrash interpret this passage to mean that Aaron's sons can be considered the generations of Moses because they were taught by him, and understands it to convey the lesson that the relationship between master and pupil is as significant as that between parent and child. Moses wasn't succeeded by his own blood descendants, where many men, presumably but unremarkably scholars. Fittingly, the horrific that Jews have applied to Moses down through the generation is not our leader or our redeemer or our prophet, but Moshe Rabbeinu, that is Moses, our teacher. So the plan of God for Moses was to survive by getting married with 2 children in Jethro village and lives the rest of his life there and enjoying life to his old age with his own children and grandchildren. That was the plan of God, which is the plan good for everybody in any part of the world. But that was the plan of God for him. But one day, as he was going about his business, enjoying the plan of God for his life, a man who loves and fulfills responsibility to his wife and his 2 children with respect and honor, taking care of his father-in-law, was called by God into purpose, and he had to abandon this position of a man of integrity, 1 man, 1 wife, 2 children, loved and supported by in-laws. The God's plan let him survive for some time until he was called into God's purpose to save his own people, Israelites, from the land of bondage and slavery. And this purpose of God separated Moses from his wife and these 2 children, and he ended up not succeeded by his own blood descendant, but by his own students. And his wife and children did not like him for that, for abandon plan for purpose. So, but God was less concerned about how they feel because of his purpose for Moses. Every woman need to know where a car is going before jumping into the back seat, because this vehicle may not be going to a destination where you plan to go, because you and your children may have to drop down at a bus stop where you don't like in this journey, because this vehicle is a purpose-driven vehicle. A driver was sent a message to go somewhere. You jump into the car. Now you want to control him with your own plan. You want to control the vehicle with your own goals. You want to control the vehicle with your own objective and desire, so that the driver will abandon his master's message and switch to take you to where you are going. And because the driver refused to accept disobeying his master who owned the vehicle, you are now angry that he's not a good driver. Your problem, woman, is because you never ask yourself the story where Moses is coming from before you jumped into the back seat of a beautiful car. Now read further this book to see where Moses is coming from. According to the book of Exodus, Moses was born in a time when his people were increasing in number, and an Egyptian pharaoh was worried that they might help Egypt's enemies. So Moses' Hebrew mother, Jochebed, hid him when the pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys to be killed, and he ended up being adopted into the Egyptian royal family. So after killing an Egyptian slave master, Moses fled across the Red Sea to Midian, where he tended the flocks of Jethro, a priest of Midian, on the slopes of Mount Horeb. So after the 10 plagues were unleashed on Egypt, Moses led the Hebrew people out of Egypt across the Red Sea, where they based themselves at Horeb and compassed the borders of Edom. It was at this time that Moses received the 10 commandments. So despite living to the age of 120 years old, Moses died before reaching the land of Israel, and nobody knows his burial ground, despite having wives and children. So the plan of God is being a member of a royal family, but not purpose to be Pharaoh one day. The plan of God is to be son-in-law to Jethro, but not purpose to tend the flocks of Jethro for the rest of life. The plan of God survived him in his father's house. The plan of God survived him in his father's house, but God separated him from his own wife and children, and at the end of the day, he was not succeeded by his blood descendant, but rather by his students.